Hey, Sam, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Are we good to go?
We're ready to go.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I will call this meeting of the Westfield, Washington Township Board of Zoning Appeals to order for the March meeting. First item to address is to note the presence of a quorum. Ms. Fortier.
Here.
Mr. Hatfield. Here. Mr. Schmitz. Here. Mr. McCarty.
Here.
Mr. Bowler.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you. Next, for approval of the minutes for the February 14th, 2023 meeting. Members of the board have had the opportunity to review those minutes. Is there any questions, comments, concerns about the minutes? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Mr. McCarty, seconded by Janine to approve the minutes of Feb. 14, 2023. All those in favor, voice vote indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And Dan, can you review the rules and procedures for tonight's meeting?
Yes, for all petitions, tonight's meeting has the following structure. The department will summarize the petition and describe what action, if any, is necessary to be taken. Then the petitioner will be given up to 15 minutes to present to the board. The president will open a public hearing. Individuals will be given 3 minutes to speak. Those representing a group will be given 5 minutes to speak. Only one member of the group will be given 5 minutes to speak, and for efficiency purposes, we ask that those representing a group speak first. The public hearing will be closed when all interested members of the audience have had a chance to be heard and all emails received during the meeting have been provided to board members. The petitioner will then have a chance to respond to comments, and the board will follow with any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the petition. A few comments for BZA members and petitioners. Please do not disrupt the proceedings in any way. If you need to have a private discussion, we ask that you please quietly exit the room. Please silence your devices at this time, and if you must answer them, please quietly exit the room. If you're attending in person and wish to speak in regards to a petition scheduled for a public hearing, once the public hearing is opened by the president, then please approach the podium and write your name and address onto the sign-in sheet next to Ryan here. If you are not attending in person, comments can be emailed to planners@westfield.in.gov with the petition name or number included in the subject line, and those comments will be forwarded to board members and the petitioner. During your comments, we ask that you please state your name and address into the microphone for the record, and we ask that you not repeat previously stated comments. Your presentation will be timed, and you'll be advised when there is approximately 30 seconds remaining. We would like to remind everyone to please speak directly into the microphone so your comments can be put onto the record. Thank you.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is 2303 VS04, approximate address 1549 Chatham Villages Boulevard, CHLLC, represented by V3 Companies, seeking a variance of development standard to reduce minimum lot landscaping required for multifamily uses. And the staff presenter is Lauren.
Good evening, everybody. So yes, as Mr. Schmitz outlined, this is a request for development standard to reduce the minimum lot landscaping required on this site, specifically related to shade trees. This is located in the Chatham Village, Chatham Village subdivision within the Chatham Hills PUD. You previously approved a variance for parking. We are back again, the applicant rather is back again for this request, and hopefully the last one. So, happy to answer any questions.
Do we have a petition presentation? You may have said it and I missed it. Did you?
I forgot to say it.
Pardon?
Jim Reinhardt with V3 Companies, 619 North Pennsylvania. I'll keep this brief. There is a request to have a waiver on the landscape standards. The site's a little unique. We basically have put as many trees and as much landscaping on this site as we can fit. There are some things like storm sewer that run through the site. We have to keep them outside of the easements. The way the land which was purchased for this property It doesn't have its own on-site detention. That was handled by the master development, so we don't have the opportunity to throw additional plants in common areas because there's just no common area within the purchased parcel. So we've gone through a couple rounds, basically trying to fit in as much as we can, and at the end of the day, we fell short on shade trees. So I think you can see from that example, it's pretty heavily planted. If we could find spaces to fit more in, we would, because we prefer not to ask for the variance, but we kind of are at a point now where we're stuck because of site constraints.
I forget, is this a I was thinking this was a two-page site plan, but it's really not, is it? Is that the whole shebang?
Yeah, it's all on one
Okay.
section. Now, there are some off-site roads.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of then.
Okay.
It was two, okay, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, and I guess I wanted to have Lauren clarify, in the staff report, it indicated that it was determined during the design process that they're unable to fit the 250 shade trees, and that was a staff determination.
That was a determination between, well, mostly Public Works. So they submitted a site plan with actually more landscaping. Public Works, dinged it for being too close to underground storm structures, too close to pavement, things like that.
Okay.
And yeah, it was really more
So
planning
basically,
staff.
after the city's review, collectively you and Public Works determined there's just no way.
Yeah, there's simply
Okay.
not any more room.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. Did you have anything else?
No, I'm sorry.
Question-wise?
Like I said, just brief, so if you guys have questions for me,
Okay.
I'd
We'll go ahead and open a public hearing
Okay.
and get that knocked out. I'll open the public hearing at 7:07. Give it a minute or so, and then we'll have any questions or comments.
We have nothing at this time.
I assume there's no signups, no electronic communication? Okay.
Okay.
Anything?
No public comments.
Close the public hearing at 7:08. Members of the board, any questions for the petitioner? Looks like these the ratios of plantings are pretty similar to those other, pretty much middle of the road of the other four that are here in the 70s and one of them in the 50s. And it doesn't sound like there's a viable option anyway.
It also looks like you have quite a few more evergreen ornamental trees than are required. Kind of make up for that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We did try to add in where we could. It just, the shade trees were difficult because of the
You
size.
got a dog park there,
Right.
Put them in the middle of the dog park.
Let them dodge as they're running through, right?
Well, use it. Yeah.
Hearing no additional comments, I'll entertain a motion on this petition.
I'll make a motion to approve 2303 VS 04-1549 Chatham Village Boulevard with 3 recommended conditions. The variance shall be limited to the subject parcel. The development plan shall be in substantial compliance with Exhibit 4. Plantings may be reduced or relocated, provided that minimum landscape requirements are still met. However, further reduction in the number of shade trees shall only be permitted if required by Public Works, the Hamilton County Drainage Board, or any applicable utility provider. And number 3, The development plan shall meet all other applicable standards of the PUD and the UDO.
I'll second that.
Motion by Ms. Fortier, seconded by Mr. Bowler to approve 2303 VS04, subject to the 3 recommended conditions in the staff report. Jane, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Hatfield?
Yes?
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz?
Yes.
Mr. McCarty?
Yes.
Ms. Fortier?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, and I'll make a motion to adopt staff's findings of fact for the approval of this petition.
Second?
Motion by myself, seconded by Victor to adopt staff's findings of fact for the approval of 2303 VS04. All those in favor, voice vote indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next item on the agenda is 2303 VU03, 19027 Grassy Branch Road, David and Shannon Carley seeking a variance of use to permit a kennel use on 2.19 acres in an SF2 district. And Ryan Collingwood is the staff presenter.
Thank you, President, members of the board. For the record, Ryan Collingwood with the Community Development Department. The subject property is about 2.2 acres in size and is located at 19027 Grassy Branch Road within the SF2 zoning district. The petitioner requests a variance of use to permit a kennel use on the property. The kennel use would be restricted to certain conditions outlined in the corresponding staff report, such as limiting the number of chickens on the property to 20 max, as well as prohibiting roosters to help mitigate nuisance-related concerns. This item does require a public hearing tonight, which has been properly noticed and advertised, and staff has received no public comments regarding this petition. The petitioners are here this evening to provide some additional background of the request. They are available to answer any questions, as am I, should you have any for staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Carlys? Come on up.
Thank you. So David and Shannon Carley, 19027 Grassy Branch Road. Again, just appreciate the opportunity to meet with you tonight. So we had some best friends of ours who moved to around Nashville, Tennessee, and they moved to some property, and they got chickens. So every time we visit them, every 3-4 months, our kids love going out there, going to check the see what eggs are out there and all that stuff, and anyway, running around them and things like that. So that kind of prompted, not just that, but that was one of the many things that prompted us to, when we lived in a neighborhood in Westfield, to look for land that might accommodate chickens. So so that took us about a year to find this property with about an acre backyard, and wanted to give them some hands-on learning opportunities, and one of those potential opportunities is involves chickens. So let Shannon say something as well.
I homeschool my kids, so this is I'd like kind of a homeschool thing as well, for them to kind of learn about the life cycle of a chicken, and the benefits of chickens and how to take care of them and clean them and all of that kind of thing. So anyway, kind of the reasoning behind it.
And will the chicken coop be down in is the blue or the yellow or the yellow?
Correct. Correct, yeah. So it is, chicken coop would be in that, what would that be, southeast portion of the, sorry, stepping in the mic, the southeast portion of the, I guess, backyard. It is enclosed, the entire backyard, with a 4-foot horse fence. And then in addition to the coop, we are and will be installing, I'll say, a subsequent fence to keep them into a smaller portion of the backyard. So just even a smaller portion and not that whole acre.
And then the track to the, can you pop up the location map real quick, Dane? Thank you. So is the property to the east of you still farmed, or is that a building site as well? Their houses now, okay.
Yeah, there's a house under construction currently.
Okay. Large lot, tracks through there. Okay. Anything else from you all?
Nothing additional from
Okay.
us, unless you have specific questions.
Yeah, we can have some after the public hearing. Any initially from anyone?
I have one question. At the south end, is that like tree line there? It looks like it, but
It is a tree line and then I'll say like a barbed wire fence. That
behind
goes-
or in
Within
the
the tree line,
trees?
it actually goes
Okay.
kind of in the tree line, so
Okay.
that it is entirely fenced in the backyard.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
I will go ahead and open a public hearing at 7:15. Do we have any communication in advance of the hearing?
We do not.
Okay. We'll give it a minute or so for electronic stuff to have an opportunity to come in. Are you here to speak? Great, if you'll sign in on the clipboard, and this is your perfect opportunity.
Hello. Do I announce my name?
Yeah, name and address, please.
My name is Alexis Lowry. My parents, if you scroll down on the map, that big property right there, that is their residence. And so I just had a question on how loud are chickens?
They'll answer, any questions you have, throw them all out there, and then they'll
Okay.
respond.
Okay, so I'm just curious, how loud are the chickens? And if they're not super loud, my mom does not recall them making a lot of noise, maybe a rooster in the morning. We do not object to them raising 20 chickens. She just wants free eggs. Just kidding. That is
I
all.
don't blame her. Is that all you had? Okay, great, thank you. We'll let them address it once we get, did you have any other electronic communication, Dane?
Still no electronic
Ryan.
communication.
Nothing, okay. I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:17, and I'll let the petitioners address the issues brought up and questions.
Sure. So one of the restrictions, it's a very valid question, and understand you asking it. So one of the restrictions is that there wouldn't be any roosters on the property. Yeah. So roosters loud, and I mean, you think of like first thing in the morning, but it isn't always then. They can be like any time of day, any time of night, kind of a noise. The hens are more of like cluck, 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 very, very muted. And I would anticipate, certainly where your parents are and even where our house is, that we wouldn't, particularly at night, but even like during the day, if they would be out, I wouldn't anticipate the sound traveling that distance at all. I mean, they are very, again, like cluck, cluck. I can't imitate a chicken, but it's not to the point where I think it would carry, more than 30 to 50 feet kind of a situation. What?
Sorry. So chickens sleep like people. So they actually they're kind of born to go to bed when the sun goes down. So they typically will just go into the coop and sleep 8 hours. And then in the evening, and they're locked in. And then you let them out, kind of just have their time, and then you lock them in, also for predator purposes, so they don't get eaten in the middle of the night. So, but typically in the evening, they're all put away. So, yeah.
Don't forget, there was a question about free eggs.
Yes.
Oh. Absolutely.
That, just so you know, though, that won't be a condition of this variance, so I don't know if it's binding. Any questions from the board?
About how many eggs do you expect to get on an average week?
That's a really good question. I don't know. And it depends on when they start laying. And actually, I think it could get really complicated. Their grain is an issue, how much water they're getting. I mean, it's a whole thing, right? So, yes. 4 to 7 a week? 4 to 7 a week per chicken-ish, I would say.
Okay.
So, and we, have family of 6, we can go through 4 or 5 dozen a week easily in our house, so.
Okay, so, I mean, one of the prohibitions here is no commercial.
Oh, yeah.
situation, so, I mean, I don't mind if your kids really go out and sell them on the street corner. But, I mean, in your case, you're gonna have a lot of chicken eggs if you have 20 of them. Now, I know they can be stored in a cool place for up to 6 months and things like that, so, you know, as long as you don't get into a commercial outfit where you're selling them to
absolutely.
local.
You can, yeah, she
Local
can always take
restaurants or
them down to
something.
open doors.
Oh, I like that.
She can always take
Yes.
them down to open doors.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's perfect.
Well, trust me, real eggs, real fresh chicken eggs are a whole lot better on omelets than what you get at the Kroger.
Oh, yes. That's what I'm hoping.
Speaking of open doors, I know you've probably done your own fair share of research, but Danielle Easterhouse, I know that she has her own chicken coop as well out in Hortonville. So she's always offering folks eggs as well, but that'd be a good resource to just talk about experience of raising chickens here in Westfield. So opposite side of town, but nonetheless.
Anything else? Entertain a motion.
Before
go
you do
ahead.
so, sir, I would
Nope.
like to modify the first condition slightly, just for clarity purposes. The first condition maybe should instead read, the kennel use shall be restricted to a maximum of 20 chickens. It doesn't really outright say that. My worry would be that the kennel use without that specific change could be the kennel use and just the chicken element of the kennel would be restricted to 20 if someone were to really try and broaden the definition. So in this case, I would suggest that first condition be revised to the kennel use being restricted to a maximum of 20 chickens.
What if they have a dog or a cat or something else that pushes them above 20 pets?
Well, so this would apply only to the chickens. So they could still have up to 3 small animals other than the chickens and it wouldn't count as a kennel use at all, just normal use.
So the kennel use, is it, if you had a goat, a chicken, a cat, and a dog, is that a kennel?
It's one of the reasons we're looking to change our kennel definition. The reason we have it the way it is because it used to be the county's definition, but they have since changed ours, and we're looking to change ours as well. It just, the patch to do so hasn't come through the UDO yet. And that was one of the reasons of the necessity of the variance. We informed the petitioner that was in the plans to be changed, but if they wanted to do this right now,
Yeah.
it's still under the current definition.
So basically, we're saying that I'm not sure I follow how other pets factor into this then.
They effectively wouldn't. They would be, dogs, cats, rabbits, what have you, would be outside of the kennel definition. The kennel use, so this is still a SF2 zone property that as an added kennel use. So they could still have up to 3 small animals, and on top of that, the kennel use of 20 chickens.
So if they had 4 dogs, they'd have to come in for a second kennel
Anyone
use.
technically would.
Okay.
Whether or not someone complains to us about it and we have to
Yeah,
do
but I
code
meant
enforcement, very unlikely, but in theory, yes.
Okay. All right. I'll entertain a motion.
I have the attention span of a chicken, so hopefully I wrote that down right. But I will make a motion to approve 2303 VU-03 19027 Grassy Branch Road with the following recommended conditions. That first, the kennel use shall not exceed a maximum of 20 chickens. Is that properly said? Okay, thank you.
The kennel use is restricted to a maximum of 20 chickens, just so we know that the kennel use is for chickens only.
Ditto what Dane just said. There you go. Yep, that's fine with me. Okay. No roosters will be permitted on the property. The chickens shall be fully contained in the area as identified in Exhibit 3, which shall include a coop in which will be developed in a similar character of the residents on site, and that the petitioner shall record acknowledgement of this approval with the Hamilton County Recorder's Office and return a copy of the recorded instrument to the Community Development Department.
Second?
Motion by Mr. McCarty, seconded by Mr. Hatfield to approve 2303 VU-03, subject to the 4 conditions stated by Victor and with a little help from Dane. Dane, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bowler,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. McCarty,
Yes.
Ms. Fortier,
Yes.
Mr. Hatfield.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, and I'll make a motion to adopt staff's findings of fact for the approval of this petition.
I'll second that.
Motion by myself, seconded by Mr. Bowler to adopt staff's findings of fact for the approval of this variance. All those in favor, voice vote indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries, and the matter is approved. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. We need more chickens in Westfield, so thank you.
And that concludes our agenda items. So reports and comments, Plan Commission liaison.
I might be wrong, but last week's APC meeting was relatively short because our only item of business was making a recommendation, ended up being a positive, unanimous recommendation for the Westfield, Washington Schools PUD, the change in zoning for the schools down on State Road 32, which is up on the screen right now, and that was approved by City Council last night.
And we did not have a meeting prior to that, the 2 weeks prior, so that is it.
Where is that?
Centennial Road is on the west side, and what the continuation of town might be on the east side, if it is ever constructed. It's going to be interesting from a traffic standpoint.
No
It,
new taxes.
Well, referendums.
That's exactly right.
But I don't think they're gonna get Joe Monlon out there directing traffic at that place, but on 32 with 60-mile-an-hour traffic. He's retiring anyway.
Well, they lowered the speed limit.
Yeah.
They may have to four-lane
I know that NDOT's working on an agreement, interlocal agreement for improvements at Mule Barn and 32, so my guess is this would not be long after that.
And Mule Barn is that where the industrial,
Yeah, the Shelby Materials and
Shelby, yeah.
IMI are just north on that.
yeah, I would think they'd have to do they ever pay any attention if it's a school use that warrants some sensitivity and
I would
speed control and all
imagine,
that?
I can't speak for NDOT, but I would certainly like to think that would bump them up a little bit.
Yeah.
Isn't the Midland supposed to be going out there too?
It's on the
Some
south.
It'd be on the south,
Yeah.
south of 32.
That'll be way down the line.
Sure.
Right now, it's that
Right, exactly.
Community Development Department.
We will have a meeting next month.
We will. Okay. That concludes the agenda. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor, voice vote indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned at 7:28.
That might be the shortest.
No.
Oh,
What?
No.
What?
No, no, no.